Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. As Piper said, my name is Nadia Abunasser, and I'm the Federal and Development Projects Director with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation team at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. In my role, I support programs through the MEDC that assist high-tech startups commercialize their technology, raise funding, and acquire customers through working with our ecosystem service providers that are located all over the state. Today, I have the pleasure of hosting the final conversation in this series, highlighting our statewide SmartZone partners and their clients. For those of you who have never heard of the SmartZone network, they are located all over the state. So we have them from Adrian in the south all the way up to Houghton Hancock in the Upper Peninsula. And they basically provide our entrepreneurs location in their own geographic area that gets them access to both community assets and statewide programs to assist them in growing their companies. We have 19 active smart zones across the state. They partner with local universities, and generally they have technology business accelerators and incubators to provide resources to our Michigan-based entrepreneurs. Today's conversation, we will be talking about the Jackson Smart Zone. Representing the Lean RocketLab, which is located in the Jackson Smart Zone, with us is their CEO and co-founder, Marken. And we have Renan Padovani, the president and CEO of Autaza Technology, sorry. I think that's how it's pronounced. He's one of Lean RocketLab's member companies. So welcome, Brandon and Renan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nadia. Thanks for having us.
Sure. So, Brandon, let's start off with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, the Lean RocketLab, kind of services you provide, how you collaborate with local and statewide partners, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to do so. So as you mentioned, the Lean RocketLab is a business incubator that's connected through the MEDC Smart Zone ecosystem. Actually, the Jackson Smart Zone is managed by the Enterprise Group. And so we are a contracted incubator essentially in the Smart Zone. So they're wonderful partners. And I think if I could just succinctly tie up the value of it in a quick sentence, it's that because of the MEDC Smart Zone program, we get to kind of leverage local resources and things that we do really well here in Jackson and be connected to a larger network across the state. And so specifically the Lean RocketLab, we launched actually about 18 months ago. And I had, as an entrepreneur in my own life, I had experience with Ann Arbor Spark and some of the other resources in the state, and just felt like it was a really valuable thing. And so when we launched the lab, we wanted to have a business incubator that would support innovation and entrepreneurship here in our community. But we knew it would look and be a little bit different. In Jackson, whether most people know this or not, there are actually hundreds of manufacturers that supply automotive, aerospace, med device, large companies that you've heard of, like Eaton Aerospace, Fluid Division headquartered here, to small prototyping shops that you don't know about that make some of the coolest things that ship all over the world. And so we wanted to really make sure that our incubator supported the industries that have density in Jackson, which are manufacturing. And so we offer a wide variety of services to entrepreneurs and teams in our community that come in from access to capital through different state programs, resources, programming, et cetera. And then I think we'll talk about this more, but we also have done some really exciting collaborations with some other smart zones across the state, and are specifically now very invested and focused on our Industry 4.0 accelerator that we're running. So that's probably the 30,000 foot, and I can dive in on any specifics of that you have questions about.
Okay, with that kind of as a backdrop, you've mentioned some of the types of companies that you work with. Can you share a little bit more information about the kinds of companies you've been working with over the past year and a half?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that was really important to us at the lab is that we wanted to have want to focus on manufacturing and physical products because that's the density that exists in our community. So we have these, the investors here are guys that own manufacturing companies, and the equipment and the knowledge and the workforce is around these industries. And simultaneously, Jackson is a historically disadvantaged and impoverished community. And so before we started the lab, one of the things that we did is we went all over the state and we saw how other people were doing things. And we said, hey, we really like this. And we learned a lot from each place. And so I think one of the things I would say that we took right off the bat is actually from the Ferris wheel 100K incubator in Flint, just that they were right in the middle of their downtown. You could walk right in the front door. And so accessibility was really important to us. We wanted to make sure that we were available to our community, and that people who had never started businesses before, never started companies, could walk in our front door and we would give them the resources. And we've done that. And so everything from first-time entrepreneurs that live in Jackson that walk in and say, hey, we've got an idea on a napkin to develop. We've had so many cool companies come in, whether it's people developing all kinds of different physical products and technologies, and I can highlight some of those, all the way to people that get sent to us from universities, people that come, hey, maybe they're from the University of Michigan or from MSU and they want access to manufacturing. So I'm trying to think, probably like some of the most recent startup teams. We're supporting a local team that's developing a physical sports product. All the way from, we've got a local entrepreneur who's developing software that improves efficiencies in the manufacturing floor, and everything in between.
Okay, so why don't you talk a little bit about the Industry 4.0 accelerator and how you're accepting companies, and I think then we can segue into letting Renan talk about how he got involved with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that so I'm seeing this question that's kind of coming through that's correlated to what we're talking about. So I'll try to speak to it simultaneously. So one of the things we noticed at the lab is that entrepreneurs in vastly different stages, right? We have people that come in with a napkin, people that are validating an idea, people that are in prototyping. Where we really felt like we could help people the most is this: they started to do low volume manufacturing production, started to ramp up, introducing them to suppliers, vendors, etc. So we've actually partnered with some of the other smart zones in the state. So like, for example, 100K Ideas does this awesome program where they'll help you validate a really early idea. You walk in and they're going to help you figure out, what does it cost to produce this, or who's doing this? And so we work with those guys when teams or individuals come in with really early stuff, all the way through teaming up with like Ann Arbor Spark on their customer validation programming that they offer, and all the way through. But specifically to answer your question, the thing that we launched earlier in the year, which we're beyond excited about, it's actually the first of its kind in North America, is we launched an Industry 4.0 accelerator focused on advanced manufacturing and the tenets of that: additive manufacturing, advanced materials, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, industrial Internet of Things, robotics, virtual reality, augmented reality. All these technologies that are just emerging right now that really represent the digitization, the fourth industrial revolution of manufacturing. So Michigan has this incredible history in manufacturing, this tremendous density. And so we actually teamed up with two other incredible organizations, all who are connected to the MEDC, which is exciting. Automation Alley in Troy, which is really the Industry 4.0 thought leader for the world. They're the advanced manufacturing hub for the World Economic Forum. They are really incredible leaders in that space, partnerships with hundreds and thousands of manufacturers across the region. And then Lawrence Tech University and their Centropolis Accelerator, who is really the other sort of manufacturing focused accelerator in the state. So the three of us teamed up, and we said, we want to launch this new style of accelerator. We're going to collaborate. We're going to join forces, and we're going to make this thing global. And it's been incredible so far. So the accelerator itself is backed by an MEDC originated fund that essentially serves as a seed fund. So we have about $1.5 million that's liquid, and we're making $110,000 seed investments into the companies that get accepted into our accelerator. It's been incredible so far. We've had over 125 applications since we launched from teams all over the world that have amazing Industry 4.0 technology, that know that the customers and the manufacturing facilities are in Michigan. They need to be in Michigan. And so that was our thesis. We said, hey, we have so much density in manufacturing and all these customers here that we think the best startup teams in the world will come here if we help them with capital, we syndicate with other funds that exist in the state, and we connect them with manufacturing customers. And so between Automation Alley, Lawrence Tech, and us here at the Lean Rocket Lab and our partnership with the Jackson manufacturers, we are not only seeing these amazing applications, working with these great teams, we're connecting them with manufacturers, which is really where the rubber meets the road with these technologies. And I can go deeper on all that, but I'll stop talking so you can get a question in.
All right, Renan, let's go over to you for a bit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your company does and how you got involved with Lean Rocket Lab?
Okay, thanks, Nadia. And first, thanks for your invite. It's really grateful to me discuss about Autaza and entrepreneurship topics, in special in this event from Detroit, who is the main city for the automotive industry. We have an important part of our company with customers in the automotive industry, so it's really nice. My name is Renan. I am the CEO of the Autaza. Our company was founded in 2016 inside the Brazilian university in partnership with a big automaker, and we developed solutions for quality inspection in different industries, including automotive industry. And since last March of the last year, 2019, we have started our operation in Ann Arbor inside the Spark building, and we are being supported by Lean Rocket since the beginning of this year. And currently we are working more close to make a deal and make some investments in our company inside the scope of E.40 program, but we already have ongoing strategies defined after mentoring meetings in order to help our company attract some investments. They are making connections with their network to introduce us to potential clients and potential suppliers in Michigan. We already have clients in Michigan in the automotive industry, but this is really interesting to us, connect with the Lean Rocket, and I think it's just the beginning, and we have more actions coming soon.
Thank you, Renan. So Brandon, let's go back to the SmartZone a little bit. Can you talk about how you've been able to engage with the local community? When you talked about the manufacturers, why don't you tell us a little bit how you've managed to get all of Jackson involved in your incubator? You've got a ton of support there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been the main thing. You know, we crowdfunded the launch of the Lean Rocket Lab, if you will, with the help of the MEDC, the help of the Jackson manufacturing community. We happen to have a really wonderful Fortune 500 company here called Consumers Energy, who believes in what we're doing and has helped us quite a bit. I have to definitely thank Patty Poppy and the team at Consumers. But, you know, I could go down the list, the enterprise group and these folks who have been a part of what we've done. But I think really the thing that got us so excited when we started is we went out, and Jackson's a little bit unique in that these manufacturers here, many of them are family-owned manufacturing companies, downstream suppliers to some of the larger OEMs and tier ones that maybe are in Detroit. And so we went out and we just started talking to these people, and we said, hey, you know, we were learning about what things they were concerned about. You know, obviously the advent of Industry 4.0 technologies are a really big deal to them. We learned that the capital was the investment capital was tied up in these companies, and that these guys were looking for innovation. They were looking to be suppliers. There was just sort of a willingness to support an entrepreneurial ecosystem that maybe was a little bit untapped. And so there was just a general excitement. We serve on the board of our Jackson Area Manufacturers Association. We get to interface with these manufacturers all the time. But I think I can probably just give an example to tell this story the best way. So one of the companies that we support is a really unique proprietary golf club manufacturer. They have a line of golf clubs that are very innovative, high performing, and they had a vision to make these golf clubs here in the United States. And so they came to us. They actually won one of our pitch competitions, and just this is a great example, right? So they're at the lab and they are pitching in our pitch competition. They win the pitch competition. We had a cool panel of judges, and they win the pitch competition. They get some capital and all that stuff. But then like the real magic started. So in the audience that day was an incredible machine shop that does super high precision supply, who said, hey, we can make these club heads. This was a super unique process for how they were going to make these club heads. An injection molding plastic company in the audience who said, hey, we can make these 2-tip components. There was a company in the audience that does the silicone or the foam forming that they need to do. So they're all Jackson manufacturers in the audience. And so they make all these introductions, they meet these people. And then over the next several months coming out of the pitch competition, the machine shop that is now building their golf clubs is an investor who's not only helping them manufacture this stuff that really would be very, very expensive, very challenging, the amount of capital tied up in the machines, the manufacturing space, the talent, the engineers to do this. And they come on as an equity partner and investor and help them manufacturing. And they're now running clubs off the line. They have the plastics being manufactured here, the foam and the grips being manufactured here. They've moved to Jackson. And so why are they here? They're here because there's investment capital ready to be deployed. There's manufacturers who wanted to help, wanted to participate, who can make these things within their current scope of business. And that was our whole theory, because we knew that in manufacturing, it's expensive. There's this like chasm that exists that's different in other industries. And Renan can speak to this. It's hard, manufacturing is just a different kind of industry. And so we felt like that was a thing that would be a huge advantage. And so that's what we've seen happen. And it's been incredible. The amount of manufacturers that come to our events and that want to invest. And one final example, just because I get excited when I start talking about this, but why the accelerator is so exciting to us, the Industry 4.0 accelerator, is because when we get a company that comes to us that has some type of technology, so maybe they have an inspection technology like Renan's, where hey, this is what it does, blah, blah. We pick up the phone and the CEOs of these manufacturing companies allow us to come in, demo these technologies, provide feedback. And it's true across the state. Now, some of the larger OEMs and tier ones, maybe it's their innovation departments and different things. But we just get incredible ability to get companies into manufacturing facilities, to get feedback, to get testing, to get data. And that truly is the magic. If there was like one thing we do at the lab, it's that we're going to help you validate quickly by getting you in manufacturing.
Thanks. So, Renan, back to you for a little bit. So,
okay.
What would you consider a success when working with Lean RocketLab? What do you think how do you think they're going to be able to contribute to what you would consider a success for your company?
Okay. So in the startups world, we spend the most part of our time solving complex problems or making solutions for complex problems. And one important thing that we need to know since the beginning of our business is the point that we couldn't solve some problems alone. Yeah, and so we need people. We need co-founder. We need shareholders, employees. Mostly, I think the most important part, employees, and services providers like Lean Rocket. And so, in my opinion, they have the expertise to make connection, as Brando said, with small manufacturers, with tier one, with the OEM, and this connection, they made this connection, use their network that can help us to solve some problems. I think sometimes we need just some feedback from the OEMs to just to know if our way is right, and they make this connection, and they are not just service provider. They are mentoring our company in a strategic level with the objective to grow our companies, but deliver some benefits to all the communities in Michigan.
So, Brandon, beyond just the successes that the companies would consider a success, I assume you guys track metrics and outcomes. I know all your various supporters and funders all have different metrics, but what do you really see as something that the incubator would consider success metrics? What is it that you want to see at the end of the day? What is it that you track that you would consider a real success?
Man, that's such a good question, Nadia. As at the MEDC, obviously, we're bringing metrics back to you and things, and there's things we think are really important. So for us, it's twofold. We care about two things a lot. So one is the companies that we're helping. So are we actually helping entrepreneurship to happen? And there's no real magic there. What you're trying to do is you're trying to, when people actually have a team or they have an idea, you're trying to eliminate roadblocks that have historically stopped people from being successful that aren't real roadblocks. Access to capital shouldn't be a real, coaching, mentorship, programming. We're trying to eliminate traditional barriers to entry, because the problem with those barriers is that they sort of only allow certain people to be successful, and you have to have access to certain things. And so our whole idea at the lab is, if you come in and you follow our program and our processes, we're going to try to make sure those historical roadblocks aren't the thing that slow you down. Now, your idea might be a bad idea, and that might slow you down, or your company might not be, but we're not going to allow the traditional things. So one, we care a lot about the investment that's generated into the teams. We care a lot about helping teams commercialize. That's a thing we talk about all the time. Can we get you to a working prototype? Can we get you in manufacturing? Can we get you, if you have an Industry 4.0 product, can we get you on the manufacturing floor talking to manufacturing companies? That's really where the rubber meets the road. We've helped almost 100 teams in our first 18 months. And, some of those teams we're helping them validate. Some of them we're helping get to manufacturing. But that's stuff we're paying attention to. How many teams have we helped successfully manufacture, prototype, low volume production, or get investment, or get that customer feedback? So for us internally, we care about that a lot. How are we helping people be successful? The second thing we pay a lot of attention to is our community that really drives what we do is manufacturing community. And so we know that these manufacturers have to rapidly adopt Industry 4.0 technologies, or they won't be around. And it's a weird thing to say out loud, but they have to do this. Like, the world is changing so fast. And so we feel like we have two constituents that we serve: startup teams and then our manufacturing community. And so we care a lot that they're getting great technology, that they're getting innovation, supply chain resiliency. I mean, if we learned anything from COVID over the past few months, it's that we really need to be paying attention to supply chain resiliency and lights out manufacturing. And so all these Industry 4.0 trends speak to that. They've only been accelerated. So our ability to connect entrepreneurs with manufacturers is the single most important metric to us. How many meetings are we having? Demos are we doing? Investment are we generating? Suppliers are we matching up? We think that that's what we bring to the world when it comes to why we do what we do here in Jackson.
Okay, so Brandon, why? I think we probably glossed over this a little bit at the beginning, but you only talked about general things that you guys provide. Does the incubator provide space? Do you have capacity to have tenants and companies join the incubator? how does that work?
Yes. So specifically at the Lean Rocket Lab, I'm going to pull up this really cool list for myself here so I can remember all these things. So specifically at the lab, we call kind of our main service offering. So outside of our I4O accelerator, just our main service offering, we call it a virtual incubator. You can be here physically or virtually. We actually support teams locally and all over the world, really. But inside of our incubator, we think it's an incredible program and an incredible deal, but it's $199 a month. You get access to the physical space in the lab. So you get a membership, desk, office, whatever makes the most sense for that team. You get access to all of our events and programming, different things that we offer, a very discounted rate. For our physical product teams, you get access to SolidWorks, and you get access to, we have HubSpot for startup partnerships. So you get thousands and thousands of hours of discounts in HubSpot and Amazon AWS servers. We have what's called a professional services network. And so we did something unique at the lab. We filled the lab with service providers that work with startups. So we have an IP attorney in the lab. We have a packaging design and engineering firm on site in the lab, software developers, UX, UI people. And when you're a member of our incubator, you actually get access to those service providers at discounted services. And then we go above and beyond that. Because of our partnership with the MEDC and our business incubator, our gateway program that we have, we can actually get up to $50,000 of funding depending on the team and the technology to help go towards paying for those services. So it's one thing to connect a startup with an intellectual property attorney, but typically that can be a high cost and a barrier. And so we're able to work with them and not only get them discounted services inside of our program, but help them pay for it with grants and different things that we have access to. So the mentor, we pretty much team everybody up with a mentor. We're certified. We have certified lean startup coaches here. So when you're in the incubator, you get a monthly meeting with a lean startup coach. And then we just start connecting you with an amazing number of valuable meetings and resources and people. So
that's great.
That answer your question, Nadia? Was that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Okay. I probably missed some stuff. It's hard to talk about it all, but.
Yeah, a lot of services.
Well, that's so. Do either of you see something that you'd service? So, Renan, let's go with you. Is there something that you would like to see added into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think Lean Rocket has some important services for thinking about the industry 4.0, because it's different when we have one startup for software develop, only software for consumer, but in the manufacturing industry we have a different approach to understand or for start our product in some industries. So we need help to start this trajectory, and we need one space with lab, as Brando said. We need some. We have Autaza. Inside the Autaza, we have two sectors. We have hardware development and software development. So we need test our hardware in some labs. So this is really interesting inside the Lean Rocket, because we have this space. And the important thing that I think is different from others incubators or accelerators is the mentoring is not just for one specific topic, but they have experts in different areas, and as Brando said, in IP, in software development, hardware development. So this is one thing that really important to us.
Okay. What about you, Brandon? Are there things that you think we could be doing that we're not?
I mean, so
with the infinite bucket of money.
Yeah. So I think if I had any desire, and we're going about trying to solve this. So this isn't. I'm not just lobbing this grenade out there and walking away. I think a lot of the funds that exist in Michigan, they're not thinking yet about manufacturing. They're not thinking yet about Industry 4.0. That's changing. We're getting really good traction with some of them. I mean, I would have to just, the Invest Detroit and some of these MEDC directed pre-seed 3.0 fund, where there's good stuff there. We're talking to some of the different angel groups here locally more and more about investing in manufacturing and Industry 4.0 technologies. I have a call later this week with a Silicon Valley VC that is Industry 4.0 focused that wants to see what we're working on. So if I had any like ecosystem desires, it'd be more funds going towards this type of technology. But it's coming, right? And we're starting to see more and more success, and there's more and more money being deployed there. And so that's exciting. This is a little bit of an aside, but I have to sort of just restate this because I think it's valuable. But one of the things in our Industry 4.0 accelerator that I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, because of our partnership with Dan Radomski and Lawrence Tech University's Centropolis Accelerator, the bench of EIRs that we have access to that we're able to plug into these teams is absolutely incredible. I mean, these are Industry 4.0 experts from large tier 1 and OEM companies that we're specifically plugging in to teams when they really need it. And I just think I just don't want to, that popped in my head as a random aside, but I felt like I had to say it. So.
Okay. So other than LTU and Automation Alley, you've mentioned some other organizations across the state that you collaborate with. Who do you work with the universities at all? Do you, is it just Ann Arbor Spark, or is it a statewide kind of reach?
So, I think there's two answers to that question. So one is, I think the state ecosystem is very interconnected. One of the things I have personally been very passionate about since sort of arriving into the ecosystem of incubators across the state is that we're not all good at the same things. And I think that that's okay. Like, I think that that's okay. I think it actually is inefficient and creates redundancies for everyone to do the same things. And so what we try to do with the lab is to say, let's geographically think about what areas are better at certain things. And I think that's been a valuable approach. And so we've had tremendous partnerships with lots of groups around the state, and we send people to other smart zones when we think that they're going to be best supported. Maybe they're doing something in the pharma or medical. We send them to, Western Michigan or whatever. I think probably one of the most valuable relationships, two of the most valuable relationships we've had is the University of Michigan. Oftentimes that's a conduit through Ann Arbor Spark and Michigan State University. We work closely with their different groups, and we get incredible technologies and teams that get sent to us that have a manufacturing innovation or an I4O technology, and they come by way of those universities. And so we're trying to be super connected, and we're saying, hey, look, some of the best technology in the world and ideas and companies are coming out of the University of Michigan. Well, when they're ready to start thinking about manufacturing and suppliers and needing resources in that way, why don't we work together on it? Why don't we support them? And the ecosystem is so collaborative. It's amazing. If you're an entrepreneur in these different industries, you should be here in Michigan because there's just an abundance of resources.
Okay.
I agree with this.
That leads to the next question. Renan, what made you, beyond the fact that your company is going to be working with automotive type manufacturers, what made you come to Michigan in particular when you decided to move to the U.S.?
Yeah, when I was looking for some place in US, I visited some other states in US, and Michigan with Spark and Arbor, I found some place with connections and with some relations that I think is really important for one startup. We have some connections, and not just connections, but we need a lot of things, but three is more important things. We need connections. Yeah, we need relations, and we need money. Yeah, in relations, I mean mentoring, advisors, and in Michigan, I found this a really connected ecosystems with University of Michigan here, or State of Michigan. We have a lot of universities here. We have a lot of manufacturing company, because I think because of this, we chose Michigan, and I'm loving Michigan now.
That's great.
Can I ask Renan a follow-up question? Am I allowed to do that, Nadia? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it would be valuable for anyone watching this to understand, Renan didn't just move to Michigan by himself. His company in Brazil is pretty substantial and doing some pretty amazing things. And he looked at Michigan as a market to break into. So maybe you can talk a little bit about what's happened in Brazil, and then why that led you ultimately to come here as the next step.
Okay, nice. As I said in my first answer, we started in Brazil, inside the Brazilian University, in partnership with a big automaker. They have the headquarters in Borem, and because we started this project in partnership with one automaker, was more easy to us understand the customer, and since then we developed one methodology for intelligence quality inspections. So today in Brazil we have around 30 employees, and we have around 7 or 8 customers around the world. We have customers in Germany, we have customers in Brazil, and we have customers in Detroit too. So Michigan is one good place because we have a lot of automakers, and the most important of our clients are from automakers. But it's true, we have a strong operation in Brazil. We start around 5 years ago. And in Brazil, we have a restricted market, and because of this, we have one technology with global potential, and we choose the U.S., the North America, in Michigan, in order to expand our operation and expand our R&D too. We will create some jobs here just for sales or for technical support, but we will create some job positions for research and ID. Michigan has in their DNA the universities and the research and development in technologies. So because of this, we choose Michigan and we choose Ann Arbor, because this city smells some innovation. In Jackson, we are trying to start these ecosystems with Lean Rocket, and it's really amazing.
That's great. We always like people to come to Michigan. So to kind of start wrapping this up, Brandon, if there was like one key takeaway you'd like the attendees to remember about your guys' work, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I would just. Oh, sorry. Was that for me or for?
Yeah, Brandon, you go first. Then we'll.
Okay, sorry. I would say that if you have a physical product or an innovation in manufacturing hardware, that we'd love to work with you and help you. I think that it takes courage to be an entrepreneur. We care a lot about having accessibility and helping all different kinds of people here at the lab. And we just have an incredible set of resources. And so don't be discouraged to walk in the door. And there's so many ways that we can help you. It's blown my mind as I've learned about all the things that exist in the state, this connected ecosystem, the networking between fellow entrepreneurs. We're just we'd love to support those people. So.
And Renan, do you have a key takeaway for attendees from the perspective of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, yeah. One thing is we can't be inside the wall company. Yeah, we need the connections, we need people, and so this could help us in our trajectory. If you are thinking about start your own company and you have just an idea, try convince one first partner before to start your own company. It's important to discuss with others your idea and get some feedbacks. This is really important. And if you already have a company, please look to your product or your solution, but can't miss the relations with all customers, employees, service providers, suppliers. You need connection, as I say, but you need maintain these connections with relationship.
All right, thank you. Well, I think we're wrapping up here. So thank you both for sharing all the great information today. Great organization, work you guys are doing has been great. And if any of the attendees would like to reach out to Brandon or Renan, I believe their contact information is in the speaker details. My contact info is also there. And if you'd like to get an overview of the MEDC's entrepreneurial initiatives, you can go to our website at michiganbusiness.org/entrepreneurship, and it lists the various programs that we fund. And at this point, I think we'll open it up to questions. I don't really see any. There was one comment about companies needing more than $50,000 for COVID recovery. We realize that there are many companies that need a lot more than just $50K for COVID recovery. The reality is our funding only goes so far, and we are working diligently to try and find trying to find more funding and more ways to support companies survive and recover through this. There is one company, one question. I'm sorry, I don't know what WMOSBS refers to. So
I think women and minority owned small businesses is my guess.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. That was a long acronym that didn't mesh for there for a second. So one of the programs that we launched for the COVID recovery was the Entrepreneur Resilience Fund, I believe is its name, through Michigan Women Forward. That while anybody is eligible, it does focus on women and minority-owned businesses. In general, the MEDC, we launched a new strategic plan last year, which basically we want to focus more closely on equity across the state in all of our programs. So we are focusing more on trying to make sure that there's equitable distribution of services across the state, and we are tracking that information. And we do want that. I want our smart zones and our service providers to be actively seeking entrepreneurs underserved from the underserved population. So.
Yeah, and here locally, Nadia, at the lab, we have two organizations specifically that really take a lead on that for us. So we have an organization that actually offices here at the lab called Michigan Tribe. They specifically support women and minority-owned small business initiatives. And they're actually kind of geared up to where they'll also help non-tech businesses, which sometimes isn't exactly the way that we're structured. And so they will help small businesses that maybe are launching even neighborhood businesses and things like that. They're doing a virtual event at the end of August with Women Forward, and going to be doing some pitch preparation to raise capital, things like that, education in that space. So we support them in a lot of different ways, but we're very passionate about that and trying to learn more about what it means to do a good job supporting women and minority-owned small businesses. So. And
I believe the next question, looking for They're looking for startup kits for absolutely new startups. I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was gonna say what we do here, but you could answer that.
No, I was gonna say that. I was gonna give it over to you.
Yeah. So we actually are newly partnered with an organization called Lean Stack, which is started by the authors of the Lean Startup and the Lean Canvas, and we actually have a whole system and kit and so we actually run this program virtually and physically, but you can come in with an idea and we'll help walk you through essentially a several month program, depending on how fast you go through it, that takes you really from early stage idea, filling out your Lean Canvas and some online toolkits that we support that. Then there's some complementary capital resources and different things like that. But if you have any curiosity about that, we will work with people remotely and virtually as well. Obviously, that's much easier now, part of the reality. But we love to walk you through what we do on Lean Stack and all that stuff.
Okay, Brandon, there was a question in the chat asking about the web link for Michigan Tribe. Do you know that offhand?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't. I'll have to. I don't know if there's a way I can. I'll make sure. What's the best way for me to get that to people afterwards? I don't know. I guess I could see if I can find it real quick. It's on the leanrocketlab.org website. You can find their Instagram posts and stuff show up there for their different events and whatnot. So just go to leanrocketlab.com website and look for the Michigan Tribe links. And if for whatever reason you have any trouble, you can just email me and I'll get you connected with their founders. So.
Okay. There one more question. This one is kind of for me, asking if we serve regions like St. Clair County. We do have a SmartZone in Port Huron. It's run through the Economic Development. It's the EDA of St. Clair. Sorry, I don't remember exactly what the acronym stands for. Economic Development Agency, maybe, or but it's through the St. Clair EDA, and they are actually a SmartZone satellite to the the Automation Alley Southfield SmartZone. So they are actually connected into the Industry 4.0 on the edges. So there is definitely support for entrepreneurs in the St. Clair County area. Okay, apparently they want our contact info again.
Yeah, so should I just type it in the Q&A box then?
Well, if you, either the Q&A box will work.
Okay.
Put mine in, I don't know.
Hey.
I sent mine through the Q&A.
All right, I dropped it in the chat for everyone and the Q&A.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, I work for the state, so people can always find me.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put it in the chat as well. I think that, was there another one? Sorry. I think that was all of the questions. Piper, do you want to close this out, or how do you want to do that?
Sure. This has been really great. Thanks for a wonderful session, learning about all these great resources. This is so cool. Today is the 5th and final day. What a great lunchtime session, learning so much. And thank you very much, Brandon, Renan, and Nadia. And we see that folks are able to follow up with you. There are a few more sessions left in the day, and continue to enjoy Detroit Startup Week.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.